In the studio of a popular Turkish radio station, a talk show host conducts his weekly program. At the offices of Turkey's biggest daily newspaper, a group of reporters finish up the next day's edition. And in a classroom at one of Istanbul's most prestigious schools, children work through an algebra lesson. 3 different scenes of Turkish life, but with one thing in common: an Islamic spiritual leader named Fethullah Gülen. All of these institutions were founded by his disciples and aim to spread his message. In America, the notion that religion should have a role in everyday life may not be controversial. But in Turkey, groups like the Gülen movement are causing enormous anxiety. Although just about everybody in Turkey is Muslim, by law, Turkey is a secular country. Religion and the state are strictly separated. But today there are those who'd like to see religion have a bigger role in public life. The followers of Gülen are among them. In Turkey, it's estimated that Gülen may now have as many as 2 million members. The group promotes what it calls ethical and moral values based on the teachings of Islam. Erkam Tufan is the radio talk show host and a follower of Gülen.
The Gülen movement, as the name suggests, isn't a cult or a political party, but a social movement. Its members believe the world needs the ideas of Gülen, especially his ideas on moral and ethical values.
Nilüfer Narlı is a sociologist at one of Istanbul's biggest universities. She sees the Gülen movement as similar to the evangelical movement in America. It's popular with many who believe modern secular society has lost its sway.
What we see today is the rise of religiosity, religious values in Turkey, and it's a type of neo-fundamentalist movement. I don't think that Turkey will be an Islamist society, but what is changing in Turkey is emphasis on religious morality and manifesting religiosity to the others.
The new emphasis on religion instills fear in many Turks. For them, Turkey's status as a secular state is not only a source of personal freedom, but the key to economic and political integration with the West. Bedri Baykam is known around the world for his art. In Turkey, he is also well known as a vocal defender of the secular system.
In politics, you question everything. So all the political freedoms of a country are shattered in pieces when you bring religious values that cannot be discussed in any ways, because there are dogmas, you have to accept them as they are.
Gülen supporters go to great pains to say their agenda is social, not political. But Baykam isn't buying it. As evidence of Gülen's true motives, Baykam points to a videotape from 1999 in which Gülen is said to be urging his followers to undermine Turkey's secular system of government. Because of that tape, Turkish authorities charged Gülen with breaking the law, which strictly forbids religious groups from interfering in politics. Gülen was eventually acquitted. Nonetheless, he's since chosen to live in exile in the United States. But the Gülen movement isn't the only Islamic group in Turkey winning converts. An organization called Mustazaflar Der, in Turkish that means the Association for the Oppressed, has gained a widespread following in rural eastern Turkey. Much of its focus has been on charity work, like handing out food and providing free medical care. However, many of its members once belonged to the radical group Hizbullah. Some of them are suspected of having committed acts of terrorism. Hüseyin Yılmaz is the general manager of Mustazaflar Der. Hizbullah has advocated the changing of the Turkish government, sometimes by using violence.
We don't approve of violence, and we want nothing to do with violence. If someone does something illegal, even something like smuggling cigarettes, we expel that person. Why? Because he will be a stain on our group.
But in recent years, Mustazaflar Der has become more politically active. When it sponsored this rally against the December 2008 invasion of Gaza by Israel, thousands of people turned out. A study published in late 2007 by the Washington Institute for Near East Policy said Mustazaflar could, quote, become an influential power in southeast Turkey in the mold of Lebanon's Hezbollah, Iraq's Mahdi army, and Hamas in Palestine. Adding to the suspicion about groups like Mustazaflar and the Gülen movement is the question of who's really running them. In the case of Gülen, he himself claims to have no active role in the day-to-day affairs of those schools and media companies. Managing them seems to be left to a loose alliance of conservative businessmen.
They have been heating the water very slowly, so people kept saying, hey, there is no danger, it's the same lifestyle, there is no problem.
Or is there? That's the question facing Turkey as traditional religion and modern democracy try to coexist. I'm Gizem Yarbil reporting for World Focus from Istanbul, Turkey.